Essay for an English class in January of 2013. Enterprises of great pitch. An analysis of to be or not to be. Hamlet's soliloquy in Act 3 Scene 1 is one of the most famous passages of English literature. The content of his speech can appear straightforward to the casual observer, but a deeper investigation reveals layers of complexity. The speech itself appears at an important pause before the action of the play develops in full force. The audience's interpretation of Hamlet's words plays an important role in the understanding of the play as a whole. The speech seems outwardly to consider suicide, but circumstantial evidence and choices of diction indicate that the act of suicide is a cover for Hamlet's true concern. Hamlet's soliloquy is a veiled study of human will, as evidenced most significantly by the use of the word thought at a critical point in the soliloquy. On the literal level, Hamlet's soliloquy is a contemplation of the tension between suicide and willful existence. On the one hand, human life is nothing but a series of sufferings. On the other hand, there may be more sufferings in the next life. Hamlet wants to avoid pain in this life by snuffing out his existence, yet fear of punishment after death restrains his violent impulse. A pain stimulus leads to fear, which leads to an action sought to ameliorate his condition. The curative action in turn would lead to a new pain stimulus, and thus causes fear, and once again retreat. Hamlet is caught in a circle of indecision driven by fear. Although Hamlet's soliloquy seems to concern suicide, it should be read as a study of indecision with regard to his personal duty to revenge his father's death. At this point in the play, Hamlet has much to look forward to. He has set up the testing of Claudia's conscience brilliantly. The thought of revenge, which has so tortured his mind up to this point, is close to being alleviated by action. The audience must be a bit surprised to witness Hamlet contemplating suicide, for he has less reason to do so now than previously in play. Hamlet must instead be contemplating the various outcomes that he might face. Claudius could indeed express his guilt upon witnessing the play. Claudius could also express no sign of guilt upon witnessing the play. A critical reader has much reason to doubt that suicide is the true focus of Hamlet's speech. Shakespeare's word choice in this passage should also lead the reader to believe that Hamlet's soliloquy is not only meant to convey a literal interpretation. In the beginning of the speech, Hamlet laments life's misfortunes, or to take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing end them. 158, Hamlet 3.1.59-60. Here he figuratively describes life's difficulties as a sea of troubles. And more interestingly, he describes his solution to life's difficulties as the taking up of arms. Here his figurative cure for life all too realistically mimics the literal cure he is contemplating, suicide presumably by a blade. Also, this figurative cure should be read as an allusion to what actually troubles his mind, the thought of revenging his father's death, an act which requires the use of a blade. Starting on line 78 with the contrasting conjunction but, until line 83 with the consequential adverb thus, Hamlet explains that fear of punishment after death prevents many from committing suicide. Hamlet reasons that the initial resolve to end life's painful journey prematurely and unnaturally, suicide, is sickly or with the pale cast of thought. 158, Hamlet 3.1.85. The word thought in line 85 is the most important word of the soliloquy. Here, with the word thought, Hamlet admits that his entire soliloquy more precisely concerns human intention generally, and specifically his plan to revenge his father's murder. Up until this point, Hamlet claimed that the decision to commit suicide is restrained by the fear of the unknown after death. This scenario, the action described here, is only a model for the real object of Hamlet's thought in the soliloquy, his duty to kill Claudius, which is impeded by Hamlet's fear of the action's consequences. The word thus indicates that the contemplation of suicide is just action similar to the one Hamlet is considering, the murder of Claudius. Claudius is the sea of life's troubles. What keeps Hamlet from killing Claudius, or committing suicide? are his uncontrollable thoughts which undermine his resolve. Hamlet's thoughts play the role of a pious fear of death in restraining would-be suicide victims.